Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome. Welcome, everybody, into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Picasso's, we are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order yours today at picassospizza.net. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wire. That over there is my co-host, Jay Spence the King. You can find him on Twitter at Jay Spence the King. Yeah.
I always get confused when you do it because like you have pause, so I don't know if I'm supposed to jump in and be like Jay Spence the King or if like you're pointing and still saying it. I'm always confused. But yeah, what's up, y'all?
I'm just excited about the fact that I got through the Picasso's read without a script in front of me.
Hey,
Literally,
you're good.
that was just right off the top, right off
Yeah,
the
you
top
did
of that. So if there was a whole bunch of other stuff, I'd have been in trouble. But yeah, myself, Jay Spence the King. It's great to have you guys. It's good to see everybody in the comments section. We appreciate you. We are Super Chat Live. Please like and subscribe, whatever platform you are watching on. We get to have a fun conversation. The Buffalo Bills are headed into the bye, 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is there anything else to say with that? I mean, and they can't be challenged. They're five. They can't be challenged as number one in the AFC.
It is what it is. Like we like that.
We like that, and we are like that.
We got a team full of hymns. You know what I mean? Like so many guys can like Diggs, I'm him. Davis, I'm him. Josh, I'm him. Let's flip it to defense. Poyer, I'm him. Edmonds, I'm him. Milano, Von. Can we talk about Von? I mean, we got a show, but there's enough people to talk about.
Did you hear? Did you catch the Gabe Davis? Mike, what's up, Jamie? Did you catch the Gabe Davis mic'd up?
No, I didn't catch that one yet.
There's a spot in there where he's talking to Stefon Diggs, and Stefon says, "I mean, I'm him," and he's talking about Josh Allen, but he's him too.
Like, at least I Chris Jenke.
I assume that's
Chris Jenke or Hims University. Shout out to Chris Jenke. That's what we're gonna start calling the Bills, Hims University. That might not sound. I gotta see, but no, that might be a good one. That might be a good one.
We might want to look up what product is. Yeah, but anyways, moving on. That's hysterical, but.
Daryl says Kyer Elam may be him junior. I mean, we got enough of them. We got enough of them.
Yeah. It's unbelievable the talent that is on this roster. I was telling Fina this last night on the on the Off Tackle with John Fina show. The dude, the Kansas City Chief dude that was sitting next to me when Spencer Brown got hurt was like, that's got to be a problem. And I was like, actually, our backup right tackle is David Quesenberry, who was the starting right tackle for the Titans last year.
No,
and he was like, are you serious? I'm like, yep.
I'm like, yep, nope, we're okay. We're okay. And it's funny because like obviously you get upset about injuries. And I was upset, like, oh man, I hope he's okay. But when something happens, normally an injury to your offensive line or injury to any position is normally like, damn. No, this year, I mean, of course, you hate to see the guys get hurt, but it's just like, no, I'm cool. Like, we're all right.
Right. So, but it's wonderful to have everybody here on the Hump Day Hotline. Welcome everybody in. We're going to have a fun conversation, a relaxed conversation, if you will, being that everybody can't be him. Everybody is. But a fun, relaxed conversation as we are headed into the bye week. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this Kansas City game. We're going to talk about some players. We're going to talk about some things. And I've got your topics all loaded in, and then I've actually got a kind of a surprise topic for you. But as I said, we are Super Chat Live. So if anybody wants to get our attention and just bless us, that would be great. Yes, my background does look different. I'm in Mississauga, Canada. I've got a bunch of work appointments tomorrow up here in Toronto.
I love Mississauga. I love Mississauga.
Not a fan of the traffic. Up here in Canada, but
right outside of Toronto is not fun. But Mississauga is a nice little town. They got some nice restaurants up there. I feel like, is it the Admiral I normally stay at when I was up there? Nice hotel, great area, man. I love that place.
Yeah, I'm at the 4 Points, and I ate at the restaurant that was in the hotel because I got a bunch of work to do, and I was working. I was like, I'm just going to go downstairs, and I obviously had the show to do, and I was like, I don't want to be late, and it was just easier I would love to be able to explore a little more for sure. But let's start the show off. Josh Allen has won back-to-back Offensive Players of the Week awards, making his total 9. I don't know if you knew this or not. Jim Kelly is the only Buffalo player to have more. He has 10.
Yeah, that's done this year. I'm sorry. Jim is going down this year.
I think that's going down as well. Talk about that for a little bit. I mean, what is that? I mean, wildest dreams land, babe. I mean, really? 9 of them already?
I mean, Josh Allen just basically draked the entire league when Drake and Meek Mill got into their beef, and he came out with back to back. And it's just like, look, I don't want to hear about this ever again. I'm that dude. I'm him. I'm him. But no, seriously, it's incredible to watch. Like, as Bills fans, and I know we talk about the evolution of Josh Allen as a player, but it's like, just like, really, if you take a step back and think about from day one, like what we saw in him as a player, it was like, as raw as he was, we still saw some things that's like, okay, he's going to be good. But
Right.
I don't think any of us, at least I didn't, and I'm being honest about it, I don't think, even with the things that I saw, I didn't think this would happen. Like, I remember the first time I did see something, and I'm like, oh, he's going to be different. But it wasn't this different. Like, I just didn't. It was a training camp. I went to training camp, and obviously the year prior we had Tyrod. So what we're used to from our starting quarterback at the time was, he was accurate, but he didn't take chances, and he did blah, blah, blah. Josh, man, in this one training camp, it was like probably the second practice of it open to the public, and he threw this like 60-yard dart, and it was just like, oh, and now he's doing it in games routinely. Like, it's in games against starting NFL defenses that are good, he's just routinely throwing the ball 60 yards down the field or 40 yards. I forgot the stat that I read today. It was like for big time throws over 15 yards, he's like leading the league by a lot. It's not even close.
20 yards. Yes, he's number 1 in the league by a lot. I think it's weird because, and you follow my train of thought, right? So you and I have talked a lot about Russell Wilson on this show, because MVP in 20, Josh was in the conversation. MVP in 21, Josh was in the conversation, which inevitably led to, is it going to be Russ in 20? Is it going to be Russ in 21? Is he going to get a vote? And it's weird because I tweeted, I think yesterday, we went, things changed so fast. We went from Russ, how has he never gotten a vote for MVP, to literally, how is he starting for an NFL franchise right now? Which is weird. All that to say this. So before, where I was even hesitant to have those conversations about Josh being, I would say it, and I would try to speak it into existence. Mike. You didn't do it, by the way. So I threw you with the pause. I threw you with the pause.
You did. I had to ask about that, but you did. You got me.
there was aspects of, like, watching what we were watching and seeing what Josh was becoming, and still not ready to put him on the level of Aaron Rodgers, regardless of his stats and his numbers. Not wanting to put him on the level of of Russell Wilson, because you want longevity. You don't want to be a flash. You don't want a Cam Newton like outlier season. You don't want to, that's not what you want. And to go along with that, and I said this to Marino, Joe Marino and I were watching the Monday Night Football game in the hotel on Monday night, and we were watching Herbert, and I was like, it's amazing to me that when Herbert came into this league, we were like, oh my gosh, like, Herbert, is he like the next coming of Josh? Like, these two players are so similar. And now when you watch Herbert, they're not even in the same class. Like, they're not even, Herbert and Allen aren't close.
I think that's tough. It's tough.
Josh is just, I want to believe in Herbert, but he's just not. He's not
injured, man.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, I don't know that to be necessary. You might be right. I know he's got that rib injury. I know they shoot him full of all kinds of drugs and stuff like that, obviously to make it feel better. For me, getting back to the Josh part, the ascension of Josh Allen and the fact that it seems like he's still rising and still climbing is unbelievable. It's hard to believe that he may not even have reached his ceiling yet. And I don't even know that he's playing as good this year. It's weird to me because he still doesn't look as, I don't know. I was going to say doesn't look as good as he did in 2021 or 2020 early. But now, but now he's so much more of the offense, and he's in so much more command of the offense, and he's such a bigger part of the. It's weird. The whole thing is just weird, right?
I don't know. I mean, well, why do you think? Because honest question, why do you think he's not playing as well? Like, I feel like this is the best I've ever seen him play.
It's not him. It's the scheme, right? So what's missing from this offense, and those that were listening to me last night will hear this twice. We're right. The Dable to Dorsey transition for me has been good. Dorsey had, and this we're going to talk about Dorsey a little bit probably in a bit. Dorsey's got a great feel for the game situationally. He flows with the game. Love it. Former quarterback and played in the pros. Had a great college success. I love that. But it's clear that there's a high stress on taking what the defense can give them. There's a high stress on yards after catch. So a lot of the route trees and a lot of the route combinations are different, and a lot of it's underneath. that the weapon that Josh Allen is from 12 to 22 yards seems to be missing from this offense. And I think I want that. And Fina was making fun of me last night. He's like, "Oh, you just want it all." And it's like, I think I do. I think I want him to rope balls 22 yards down the field on a laser to wide open guys and break the back of the defense. And when they shift, then start dumping it underneath versus I don't know that it's him. I think it's more design. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'll agree with your observation, but I don't even think it's design. I think it's players, man. Like if you go back, have you gotten a chance to watch the Kansas City game again yet?
I have twice. Yeah.
So the Isaiah McKenzie drop was like a 15, I think like a 17-yard out when Josh was in the end zone. We were backed up to our 2-yard line. He dropped that one. He dropped the one in the end zone. Like I can count several plays that were about like that 15 to 20-yard range that just didn't connect when I can't put it on. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Josh Allen was perfect. He didn't make every single throw perfectly. But man, when you watch him, man, I think Josh is doing it all. And shout out to Daryl. He says, statistically speaking, Josh is having the best season, though. You got to take what they give you. And but again, on top of that, I think
I agree with that 100%. Yeah. I'm not complaining.
But I don't even think that's the thing. I think he's taking what they're giving him, and he's also forcing their hand. Like when he has to, like the Diggs catch. I know that was more like a 25-yard. It was in the fourth quarter when Diggs caught the ball over like 3 defensive backs and they flexed on him,
and then like wiggled away and still got more yards. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
So like when you're like he's forcing their hands in certain moments, and then it's like, well, no, I'll take what you give me here. But when it's time, I'm gonna enforce I'm gonna make sure you feel this dominance.
Right.
And I don't know. I just like, honest to God, this is the best I've seen him play. And I know again for the year he has 4 interceptions. In my head, I just look at it like 2. Because again, like 2 of those, one bounced off McKenzie's hand, one bounced out of Knox's hands.
I thought it was Crowder.
Thought it was Knox. Like I thought it was
regardless.
The Rams game.
Regardless.
Okay, it may have been Crowder, but either way, like 2 of those interceptions, I don't put on him. Statistically, they're his. But I just feel like he's playing smarter. He's not making decisions. I don't know why my man Nate Burleson Sunday, he said pregame, he's like, well, we still see sugar high Josh sometimes. And I tweeted immediately. I was like, I love Nate, but does he just not watch the Bills anymore? Like it's been like a season and a half or 2 seasons since I feel like we've seen sugar high Josh.
Agreed.
And right now, man, if Josh grows any more than this, I'm scared for the league. Like I'm happy for us, but I'm scared for the league.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's tough because I don't want to sound like a complainer, and that's not what I'm coming at. I think there was just so many more holy crap throws before, and now he doesn't need to make those holy crap throws because he's using all of the field, and by all the field, it's everything 12 and down, right? So he's sharper, he's crisper, he's more efficient, all that stuff. I mean, 90% of the time, if he goes on a streak like he did Sunday where he misses 6 or 7 in a row, it's something else. Guys dropping footballs, or the blitz or whatever, or a ball gets batted down. It sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not trying to complain. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're witnessing is pretty unbelievable. You said something a second ago too that I wanted to jump off of, and I can't remember what it was now. But
but before you even go there, though, I just want to comment on what you just said. It's not, even if look, the game wasn't perfect, and we won, so we're riding high, and there's things that we can feel good about. But one of the topics later, I don't know where you put it on here, but is the good, the bad, and the ugly from the game, because everything wasn't perfect. Like there's things that we can talk about, and I'm sure that we will when we get to that point. So I don't want you, you're not complaining. You're just doing what a realistic person should do.
Yeah. It's when you look at, I'm always thinking about the future. And I know that sounds strange because we all do, but I'm always thinking about what happens when we come up against the game where they figured out how to stop this. What happens, and then and then the morph happens, right? And how long does it take? And then what happens, when we come up against another defense where they figure out how to stop that, and then we have to morph again. Versus, no, we can come out and literally do whatever we want. And I feel like the Bills have that ability, but right now they're doing the 2022 thing, which is great. I could talk myself into a corner and make myself sound stupid to myself for wishing that there was more. I mean, he is statistically having the best year he's ever had. He's playing amazingly. He's in command of everything. Oh, I remember what it was. The whole sugar high thing. He is not sugar high Josh, But I don't know if you caught this. Dude, they flashed on it. It was super, super fast. As much as he has said this game means nothing, it's just another game on our schedule, blah, 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 blah. When that interception happened, when it got sealed, when Taron Johnson caught it, he stood up to grab his helmet, turned around, and like where there was no cameras watching, like he let out an outward yes or come on or let's go with where the camera couldn't see him. So it definitely means more to him that he's letting on. But no, he has not been sugar high Josh at all.
Yeah, no, and to that point, I mean, I think, and I said this last week, I've said it this week on other show. It's like, no, I mean, don't let Josh lie to you. Like, I get
No.
it. We all love Josh, and he can do no wrong in Buffalo. He lied to us last week. He lied. Okay, it was a big game.
It was a big game.
Absolutely a big game.
It was a big game.
But yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I'm excited to watch him more now, because it seems like the things that we used to kind of wish that he could just put it together. It's like, it just seems like it's together. You know what I mean? Like it's just together, and it's incredible to talk about, because now you've even, and I know you just put the next question up, but now you see the step forward from Diggs. Like Diggs has always been a good receiver, but I feel like even he's taken another step forward in his game. I feel like obviously Knox is playing better and Davis. I mean, are you kidding me? Like when we drafted Gabriel Davis, nobody thought Gabe Davis was going to be what Gabe Davis is. And if you're telling us that, you're not being honest. So it's like, just to see all these guys on offense grow with him this way.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible. Okay, next question. Big dubs into the bye. Joe was at the game. I was not. I was with one of my friends here in Arizona, and we watched the game, and he thought something was wrong with me. He fell asleep. Like he was sauce. He was drunk. He fell asleep, and then he was drunk. And I was really, really sober, because I was so nervous for this game. I didn't even want to. So I'm watching the game, and at the end of the game, dude, I just start screaming, because it's just like when the interception happened, I'm like, I ain't gonna say what I said. I can't say it on camera. Right. But I'm like, yeah, it happened. Like we're here. And he wakes up. He's like, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. I was like, no, I know it's okay. We won big dubs. And he's just like, so it was super stressful for me. How was it for you at the game though? Like I can only imagine how your heart rate was.
So before the game, I just had this feeling that we were going to win, and I told McKenna that, and I told a couple people to tailgate. I was like, "We got this." I was like, and I think my budding confidence was because of the two rookie corners. And as much as there was like, yeah, but the Bills played had two rookie corners and lost to the Dolphins. Well, the Bills didn't really lose. I mean, there's an L on the schedule. I get it, but we didn't lose because of two rookie corners. I felt like Josh could exploit them. Now, as much as Josh maybe didn't have the amount of success as I was expecting him to have against those rookie corners, I had a sense of confidence going in that we were going to win this football game. I feel like the Bills are the better team. I think they showed it last year, week 6. I think they showed it in the playoffs as much as they fell in that game. I feel like they showed that they're the better team. I think the Bills are a better football team than the Chiefs. There is the please don't God lay an egg, right? National TV, Romo's doing the game. Like, don't become the narrative. And the most pressure I felt in the whole football game was 15 seconds before the half, and it was like, you got to be kidding me. They're gonna do it again, and sure enough, they did. And I was texting Jerry Ostrowski and John Fina, because they were texting me just about different things and take the points and yada yada. And I was like, I cannot believe that they let it happen again. And Fina's like, oh, there's professional football players on the other side of the field too, Joe. And I was like, yeah, but it's not normal for teams to give up a field goal after a kickoff in 15 seconds. It's not normal. So that was the most stress and pressure I felt, because literally the narrative is just, if we lose this game, that's all that's going to be floating through. Like, all we're going to hear for the next 2 weeks is how the Chiefs beat the Bills and they let up another. The Chiefs did it to the Bills again. And why is this happening? And what's broke? And yada yada yada. But no, it's that game. And then when it ended, man, it was just when it ended, the elation that I felt and the excitement that I felt of the way that it ended, and then to see it get broke down, the defensive play with Von Miller changing his move, going inside, flushing Mahomes, Milano being right there, which made him double clutch, and then Taron, like the sequence of that defense flowing in like just a gel fashion after the fact was just like, that was like a sugar high right there. It was just cementing. It wasn't a fluke, right? It wasn't Taron Johnson just catching a tip ball. No, it was like Mahomes got forced into a legit mistake. And the defense did it to him and read it and reacted to it. it was just, it was, yeah, it was. I didn't run around the neighborhood shouting curse words like you did, but it was great.
Well, I wasn't in the neighborhood because he lives in it's like an apartment complex, so I didn't run around there. But man, but real quick to your one point, because actually, so at the half, a lot of people on Twitter was saying the same thing, like, and that's where I got the comments where people said we need to fire Leslie Frazier. It's like, how do we let this happen again? The same team, blah blah blah. And I'm like, two things. One, it's Patrick Mahomes, man. Like, I
It's
don't mean
Patrick
that. I don't
Mahomes.
want to make it. I really don't want to make it an excuse for anybody. But it's like, so imagine on the other side of things. Like, imagine if we got the ball back and it was 15 seconds, and then Josh threw a 75-yard bomb to Gabe Davis and he caught a touchdown. We would be elated. We'd be screaming and happy. And the other team would be like, how do you give that up? And it's Josh Allen. And I think sometimes, like, we expect our defense, and not you, I'm just saying in general, I feel like we expect our defense and our coordinators and even our offense to just be perfect. And it's like, in reality, they got that guy too. Like, there's a reason why the NFL was like really hyping this game up, because Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are both the type of guys that can do this stuff. So, and then, I was just going to put that up too with what Chris is saying. If they can make a 62-yard field goal to go into the half, you know what? Hey, all power to you, man.
This is the whole, and that's why I grabbed it. This is the whole thing, because what even my fantasized narrations about what was potentially going to happen if the Bills lost that game, all they would do is take away from the kick that Harrison Butker made. And as much as Jim Nantz said on the broadcast that it was against the wind, it wasn't. It was with the wind. That's the way the wind was blowing in the stadium. It was actually blowing TV from right to left slightly. It wasn't super, super strong. So even like in warm-ups and at the half, they were kicking longer field goals to the left than they were to the right. But still, 62 yards in that pressure, coming back from injury, 1 second left. I mean, it was that moment was more about the kick than about the 15 seconds, right? But it's just, how those superlatives and those narratives go. I mean, we listen to them all the time. I mean, right now they're trying to figure out ways to make it sound like the Eagles are a better football team than the Bills. It's like, hang on a second. The Bills have beaten the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Rams, and the freaking Ravens. Like, who have the Eagles beaten? So
I don't think and I saw them in person. They came here and played the Cardinals, and I got a chance to see them up close and personal. They're just not. They're good. Don't. I'm not gonna get on here and act like they're not a good team. But no, man. Like, you put them against some of the top talent, and really, I guess right now I don't even know who the top talent in the NFC is. I assumed that it was going to be a whole lot better than it is, but it's not. And I feel like the Eagles are taking full advantage of it, and that's good for them. And I hope they ride this schedule as deep as they can and go to the playoffs, and we'll see how they are in January and February, if they make it to February. But no, the Bills are for real, man. Like, regardless of what you want to say about any of the teams we faced, look, the Chiefs are obviously a great team. The Titans are not bad. Like, the last few weeks, they've actually been putting the hammer on people. Derrick Henry is back being Derrick Henry.
Yep.
We can go down the list. The point that I'm making, and actually, no, real quick, let's talk, because before we go to the next topic, please, because let's talk about that. Like, the games that we've won, we've been dominating. We've only won now 2 games close, and we've blown other teams out. Last week, we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in a blowout.
38-5. 33, right? Yep, 33.
And they just went and beat Tom Brady. Now, again, Tom Brady is not looking like Tom Brady, and the team is, but they just beat Tom Brady. Right. And so you can say what you want about, like, oh, the Bills are playing weak teams. No, they just went and beat everybody's GOAT.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Okay.
I don't really have a comment. You're right. You're not wrong. Like, you're right. I mean, it's, to me, the teams are beating the fashion. Even you go back to the Dolphins game. They beat the Dolphins up and down the field in every single category except for the score. That was the only thing they didn't beat the Dolphins in. And they had 6 chances to change that fate. There were all mistakes and there were mistakes that the Bills, if they do make one of those 6, they don't make it 6 times, right? They don't make 6 mistakes. The Bills very well could easily be undefeated right now. And I don't want to get ahead of one of the topics that I have. But it's incredible what they're doing. Whether it's, beating teams by a mile or beating them close, they have the ability to beat them any way that they want. And this game looked totally different. It looked very businesslike. It looked very settled. They didn't do what they did against the Steelers, where they came out just chucking the ball over the yard. They very well could have. against that defense with those corners, those rookie corners, but they didn't. It's something to watch, bro. Like, it's incredible, and enjoy every minute of it. Like, everybody listening to me, enjoy every freaking minute of this. But go ahead.
No, I was just throwing this up while you were talking, and then we can get to this next subject here. But Chris Jenke said the Bills have beaten the top seed in each AFC division: the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Titans. And look, it just is what it is, man. Like, this team is not. We're not like other teams of the past. This
Right.
isn't the Bills of yesteryear, where you really have to worry about this team is going to implode at the end of the season.
Right.
That is not happening. That is not
Right.
happening. This is not the year that Ryan Fitzpatrick started off hot and then we fizzed out. Josh Allen is different.
Yeah.
He's different.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. But real quick, let's just do kind of an at a glance, just from the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Buff Hub, our guy Vegas, says, inconsistency for McKenzie needs attention. This dude is ruining games at time. Ruining is a strong word. I don't know about ruining, but that's probably going to be chalked up there. And just, he didn't have a great game, right? When it comes down to it, the good, I don't even know where you start with the good. When you're talking about just what Josh Allen did, Devin Singletary, the rush offense played super well. Obviously, Matt Milano was a man on fire. Tremaine Edmonds did his job. The defensive line, it's funny because we are finally seeing, I'm the guy, you've been on the show with me, 2020, and maybe it started in 19. I don't remember when the whole most expensive D-line in football thing started, and it wasn't working. Was it 19? Did it start in 19? And then
19.
and it didn't come through. And then it was 20. And I was like, I don't know if they can afford this luxury. And they did it again, and it didn't come through in 21. How could they keep affording this luxury? Blah, 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 blah. And they did it again in 2022. And here we are. And holy crap. Like, that defensive line, it doesn't matter who they roll. Yes, there's some guys that vanish at times. AJ Epinesa is one of them. But that defensive line, I mean, even Boogie Basham is playing like a machine. Like, it's unbelievable. It was funny because I either heard or read something that it was one of the Chiefs offensive linemen that played against the Bills last year twice that said they can see the effect of Von Miller on this team by the way that the other defensive ends and the defensive linemen are playing. So, like, literally, it's not just Von being on the team. It's seeing what Vaughn is teaching those other guys and how to get free and how to like beat blocks and stuff like that. Like, there's so much good to go around. I don't know. I don't want to take it all from you, but it's just, I mean,
no. I mean, what you're saying is, I agree with everything. I mean, just, I've been stressing the growth of Groot. Like, everything, like, we saw last year that he was growing, and we saw that he was going to be a special player. But I feel like adding Von Miller and the knowledge that Von Miller has and just all of that stuff, I feel like it took it from what we saw already and like the route he was on for growth. It took it there, and then like the trajectory, instead of just going even, it really is jumping up. And both of those guys, man, it's incredible to watch. Our linebackers behind this line are playing free, and Matt Milano, I know, he made a big play there at the end. I think he had a rough day as well. He had a couple plays where I looked at it and is like,
that first one along the sideline where he ran up and was like,
yeah, and some people were like, he wasn't in a position to make it. You put that effort out there. You put effort out there to play. And there were other plays in the first half where I just felt like he didn't really play well. He picked it up in the second half and made a huge play there at the end. Tremaine, I know how I feel about him. It ain't a secret. He balled out. He balled out, and everybody playing behind this defensive line, you're seeing the domino effect. It's beautiful to watch, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I thought you froze.
I am about to freeze. I have a waning signal. I'm getting the notification that my internet signal is low, but it'll come back, I'm sure. No, I agree with you. And as far, I mean, there wasn't even much bad to kind of take from, right? I mean, you've got McKenzie, you've got Milano made a couple difficult plays. Obviously, Saran Neal, and there was a point. I had the guy sitting next to me again, the Chiefs fan, that was like, who's the weakest link in your defensive backfield? Like, the guy sitting next to me knew a lot about football. He's like, who's the weakest link? And I was like, it's that guy, the guy that keeps making penalties, number 33, Saran Neal. And I know that the Bills had a game plan for Kelsey. I don't know that it worked. I mean, I guess there's an aspect of, how do I want to say this? There's an aspect of, well, I guess defensive holding in 5 yards on a first down is better than a first down off of a 17-yard reception. However, two things. Number one, the Bills have done a good job in the past of kind of keeping Travis Kelce kind of contained. And I would couple that with the amount of times that I'm watching the play unfold below, and my eyes are fixated on something in particular, whether it's a wide receiver or Mahomes, and I can hear the Chiefs fans behind me screaming, Kelsey's wide open. And my eyes pan to a view that you guys can't see on the television, and sure enough, Travis Kelsey's like out in the middle of the field by himself with nobody around for 15 yards, like waving his hands at Patrick Mahomes, and Pat can't even find him. So I don't know that worked as well as maybe they had hoped it was going to. But if they're gonna roll Saran Neal out there, and we love Saran Neal, this isn't a slam Saran Neal situation. But if they're gonna roll him out there, it might have to look different. It might have to be coached up different. I mean, he was clutching and grabbing 8, 9, 10 yards down the field, and then mad that they're calling penalties on him. It's like, bro,
yeah.
like,
and like I basically like kind of live tweet games and stuff, and he look. Like you said, we love him. This is not a knock on him or anything like that. I think he's a special teams guru. He's a guy that you want on your special teams.
yes.
But when it comes to that, man, I just would have much rather stuck with, whatever we've been doing for the early part of the season. And, so yes, Saran Neal was part of the ugly when it comes to the game. I think you're greatly understating how bad Isaiah McKenzie performed this past Sunday. We left 14 points on the field because of Isaiah McKenzie. Like quite literally 14 points on the field. So going into the half, all I saw on Twitter was from Chiefs fans was, oh, Spags is in his bag. Oh, Spagnolia's calling a great game. Oh, he's shutting Josh Allen down. He was only 10 points. No, Isaiah McKenzie dropped a touchdown. He dropped a touchdown. The opening drive. Now, depending on how you want to look at it, you could say that's on Josh. Throwing the pitch.
We can talk.
I can't tell. I just can't tell if it was a called play or if Josh tried to do that at last minute as an improvisation. But I feel like the position that McKenzie was in, it had to be a play.
Right. Yeah, because it was the way that he turned back, right? Because I've heard what you're saying, that it was that was on Josh. That he was just running his pattern or completing his fake, because Josh was supposed to do something else. But normally when guys complete their fake like that, they don't turn back to the quarterback. Like he was turning back, the ball just got there too quick. I don't think McKenzie was part of the ugly. McKenzie was just part of the not good, right? It was just more.
He was ugly. That was ugly. You drop a touchdown in the end zone, and on 4th and 2. Drop a touchdown on 4th and 2. No, I'm talking about two separate plays. No, I'm with you.
Oh, right. I thought you were saying that I was overstating how bad he played, but it sounds like I
said you were understating.
Like
you were saying, you were saying that he was just like bad, and I'm saying like no, it was ugly.
Okay.
The fumble. If you want to put that on Josh, that's fine. But then you drop the touchdown there on 4th and 2. You drop the third down play there on when Josh was backed up into the end zone. You drop that first down. You drop and I'm a big supporter of him on the offense.
Yep.
I'm like, put Isaiah McKenzie in this offense and it's gonna cook. It was ugly. It was absolutely ugly. And I had Ty Dunn on the show last night, and to his point, he's shocked that Sean McDermott is like still sticking with him. And I love him. But at this point, Sunday, man, I was frustrated. It's like, okay, Shakir's season has to begin. Like I need Shakir to get these snaps.
And Shakir is playing well. I mean, Shakir is playing very, very well. And I asked Fina this question last night. I'll ask you the question too. Is this offense, is it missing Cole Beasley?
Yes. I'm trying to think of where I had this conversation earlier. The conversation I was having earlier was literally saying, like, I won't say the whole thing, but it's basically like for reasons outside of football, he's not on this team. And now he goes down to somewhere else, doesn't fit in. He's not a big part of the team, so he retires. It's not because of talent. And now it's one of those things where it's like every game from the first game of the season till now, there have been drop passes from that slot position that everybody has been saying, I bet you Cole would have made that. Bet you Cole would have caught that. And then you talk about that 12 to 17 yard passing game that we're lacking. That was Cole. That was why Cole was so. Look, I love everybody on this team. I don't want to see anybody leave. Like if we could keep this team together and they keep all like everybody grows and gets better, let's do it. But damn it, something has to happen when it comes to Isaiah McKenzie. He doesn't excel in a role, and I don't understand it. He's been on this team. He's gotten several chances in different ways. Punt return, kick return, slot position. He came in for injuries and had a big game last year during it, but then like he just can't stick. He doesn't stay a big part of the offense. We got to figure it out, man, because I'm telling you what, Shakir is not playing these games. Shakir is like, I'm here for a long time, not just a good time tonight. I'm here for a long time. And then And Hodgins, I guarantee you, after that game he's foaming at the mouth to get back on the field. He's
sure.
foaming at the mouth to get back on the field. So when you got guys like that, look, you got to figure it out. This is a championship caliber team. It's not going to be long before, and it's not just going to be me saying it. It's going to be a whole bunch of people saying, all right, it's time for McKenzie to kind of, please figure it out, McKenzie. Like, Mac, do that, man. Like, please figure it
out. Von Miller is worth every stinking penny that we pay him. I mean, it's unbelievable, and I can't help but go back, and I'd pull it up on my phone right now if I could and replay. And if you lose me signal-wise, I'm sorry. I'd replay, my live recording of me watching the announcement from Ian Rappaport when he said the Buffalo Bills have signed Von Miller and to 6 years, $120 million, and me being like, what? They did what? I mean, because at first it was like, because I remember stopping, like, the Bills have signed Von Miller, and I was like, pause, because that goes back to what we've always talked about. Like, that was the guy that nobody thought would ever come to Buffalo. Like, those dudes don't come here. So I paused it, hit record, rewound it, hit record, and then live recorded myself. And then when they got to the details of the contract, I was like, what? And now it's like, give him more. Roll up the armored truck.
Give him more coins. Money. Give him everything. Give him more. Now, you know what? I I don't think anybody in like, because I feel like, I'm not gonna say we're like Buffalo is better than everybody or nothing like that, but I feel like in Buffalo, the content creators and the writers and the analysts that we have, I feel like we're really in depth with what we study with the team. We kind of have a good handle on like who the team's targets are and what type of guys will fit the system. And I don't think I heard anybody say Von Miller, like, at all. Never. We all knew that he was a free agent. We all knew that he could sign wherever he wanted, but I don't think I heard anybody say Von Miller. And man, I tell you, you met Red, right? When we did the Sunday at Kroom's studio, my guy. Jared. So when Von was signed, man, he called me and he complained. And yes, Red, I'm talking dirty about you on this show. He called me and he was talking so bad. The Bills are insane. This is why we will never win a championship, because you do dumb crap like this. You don't give an old dude this type of contract. You don't give Von. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? It's Von Miller. He just won another Super Bowl. It don't matter. We could do this with blah, blah, blah. We could do this with Jerry. Shout out to Jerry, Buffalo legend. We couldn't do it with Jerry. That's why we let him walk. Look, Red, he admitted today I had to take that L. He did. He texted me. He was like, I watched it back, had to take the L, but I still had to put him on blast on the hump day because he come on. Y'all got to do better. Von Miller?
Yeah. Somebody asked the question, can we compare, or do we want to talk about the difference between Von and Jerry? The only thing you got to have it's not a fair conversation. Jerry Hughes is going to be on the Ring of Honor. He's going to be a Wall of Famer for Buffalo.
Absolutely.
Von Miller is a first ballot Hall of Fame defensive end. Like, easily. First ballot Hall of Fame. He's going into the Hall of Fame. So there's really, you can't really compare the two. I mean, as far as that goes, but his effect, and I think what I put on there, is he, are we getting what we expected, or are we getting more? And I think, I came into it with the agreement. Somebody else said it, and I don't remember who at this time, whether it was on Good Morning Football or one of those shows or something local, or one of the, the independent guys that we all watch and hang out with the community. But somebody said, even if he only gets 3 or 4 sacks during the year and then gets 4 in the postseason, he's worth it. And I was like, yes, let's sign me up for that, because that's when it matters. It matters in the postseason. Von Miller doing what he did to Kansas City in the AFC Championship game means way more than it does if he does it against the Miami Dolphins on some random Sunday in the middle of the season, right? So
very true. But also, what if he helps us lock up that number 1 seed? And I feel like this past Sunday was a big part of that. When you take down the Chiefs in Kansas City and you're leading the league, or he might be second now at this point, I think by like a half a sack, but you're leading the league in sacks. Your defensive line is one of the best at getting to the quarterback, rushing only 4 without the blitz. You're, like when you being on a team has this effect. And then shout out to Renaissance Man. My man said, plus the wisdom that he's passing to the pups. So like you mentioned, you got people like Boogie playing lights out. You got Group playing lights out. You got AJ Espinosa. he's not up to the same level, but he's still making plays. Shaq Lawson and Jordan Phillips and all of these. Dude, when your line is playing like that because you're on the team, it's over with, man. So I think not only is he worth every penny, what you said at the top and what I tweeted out Monday morning, give him all the coins, like more coins. If I can pass around a plate collection to get coins, let's give him those. Like, you got piggy banks, give him all the coins in every bank. Let's do this because this dude is worth every penny. Penny.
Absolutely 1,000%. He's worth every penny. And the guy that like we haven't really even talked about is Shaq Lawson. And I want to know, what is it? What is it about? I mean, you're in Arizona, you're in Phoenix. Jordan Phillips goes to Phoenix and it doesn't work. Shaq Lawson goes to what did he go to? He went to Miami first, right? And then the Jets. It got cut in both places. Doesn't work. Comes back, and both these guys come back to Buffalo, and I mean, Daryl Fletcher saying scheme, maybe, but I think Jordan Phillips made the comment because they asked him, why are you playing so much better in Buffalo? And he said, because they let me be me. So I don't know that that's scheme as much as that's something else. But when you look at just discipline, the discipline that Shaq Lawson brings to this defensive line when he's in for setting the edge is otherworldly. It's something that the Bills have always lacked against a guy like Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has always, Jerry Hughes, God love him, and we do as Bills fans, would always lose contain and would always rush to the inside, forcing that quarterback outside, which would get him into a moving pocket where he could make a play on the outside. Shaq Lawson is a machine at setting the edge and not allowing somebody to break contain. And that's Shaq Lawson. We're not. I mean, that's not even the guy. That's not Von Miller we're talking about. That's not Craig Rousseau we're talking about. It's not like it's Shaq Lawson who came here because he wanted to be here and is probably playing for peanuts, right? It's just. Yeah. It's incredible, dude. It's absolutely incredible.
And everything you just said there, I agree with. But to your point about Jordan Phillips, Cliff Kingsbury needs to be fired. But okay, we can move on from that. Like, he's a horrible coach. They just extended him. They gave him more money. He needs to be gone. He can't coach. I could probably do better with what I've done with my little league team out here. Like, I'm telling you, he is just not like he's horrible, man. He is horrible. Horrible. I know this is not an Arizona Cardinal show, so let's move on, but he is horrible. Y'all need to. I wasted money on these season tickets, bro. He needs to be fired. I'm telling you, he needs to be fired. They could have beat the Eagles. Fire him. Like, let this guy go. Okay.
Yeah, we don't talk enough about other teams in the NFL. We probably should figure out a way to get a segment in on this show specifically, whether it's a wrap up of the AFC East or a wrap up of just the weekend or something like that. But you wanted to talk about Stefon Diggs and Gabe Davis right now, just looking like the best wide receiver duo in football. It's funny because I feel like this is an old narrative. I don't think this is something new. We've been kind of talking about it as Bills fans and as content creators for some time. When I saw the suggestion from you, I was trying to rack my brain and who could be better. And obviously with Keenan Allen out in LA, it's not those two, but when they're back, maybe Jerry Jeudy. As much as Denver's having their troubles, you can see it that Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. Nice. We want to talk about him. Like, those two, Jerry Jeudy's coming into his own, and Cortland Sutton is a freaking monster on the football field. So there's potential there. And outside of that, I mean, where are you going?
To me, the only wide receiver duo that there would be two, and it wouldn't be the two that you named there. Miami's duo with Waddle and Hill, and then I would go to Cincinnati with Higgins and
Jamar Chase.
Yeah. So like, those would be the only two. But then again, it comes down to quarterback play. So like, you got. Everybody loves, I know everybody loves the guy out there in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is the man, but I still don't think they're making the playoffs. And I'm going to double and triple down on that take. They're not protecting him. And if he doesn't have the time to get that ball out like that, check your fantasy stats if you got either one of those guys. I think Higgins is having a really good season, but no, is it Chase having a better season than Higgins? I think Higgins had the ankle injury. So
Jamar Chase is the worker. He's the Tyreek Hill of that team. Jamar Chase is stupid good.
So I just feel like, even if you're looking at, and then you go down to Miami, I love that duo. If I wasn't a Bills fan, I would absolutely be a fan of that offense. But I don't know if now Tua looked the best out of the three quarterbacks for that offense, but I'm just not scared of Tua. Like, again, you talked about it earlier. When we lost that game, it wasn't because Tua beat us. It wasn't because that offense beat us. We won that game, or we lost that game because we were exhausted and the heat got to us. And it was us. We made those mistakes, and we
6
had to
mistakes.
have, and Stefon Diggs had to have 2 IVs in his arm at halftime. And, it's like, that's why we lost the game. And newsflash, Minnesota complained about it too this past week. The temperature difference, I think, on their sideline was like 120, and on the Dolphins sideline it was like 85. So I think, like, come on, NFL has to really figure something out about that. That's not the same thing as just like regular home field advantage.
And they did, and Minnesota didn't make the mistakes that the Bills made. That the Dolphins' offense didn't beat us. Tua didn't beat us. Their defense didn't beat us. I mean, when you look at every stat line, 90-something plays, like, it was unreal. It was 6 mistakes. If they correct, and a big part of that too is Cal Van Roten. I mean, that center to quarterback exchange, on hindsight is 2020. And something that didn't get talked about that probably should have is, why didn't Ryan Bates play center? Why was it Van Roten that was coming in at center, who has never played center before in his life? Why is it they sat Ryan Bates on the bench for a year and a half because they didn't want him to get hurt, right? Because he's the backup center. Well, now he's an incredible guard. We know that, but he's still, in my opinion, the backup center. Meanwhile, obviously there was 2 or 3 mishandled snaps from Josh Allen that caused 2 missed field goals, and they're not missed, but 2 missed field goal opportunities, I should say, which would have sealed the game. So that's a different conversation for a different day. You've got the thing on here about Ken Dorsey and Leslie Frazier. Let's hit it real quick, and then I want to bring up just kind of the final topic that we can close the show with, because it's going to be kind of fun, just kind of going through it. But Ken Dorsey and Leslie Frazier, their play calling right now is just on point. I mean, it's hard. I have been a proponent, you've heard me 100 times saying it, and it doesn't mean that you didn't agree with me, that Dable, as much of a mastermind at offense as he was, he lacked feel and flow at times, like with the offense. Just sometimes it was like, what are we doing? Like, what? Get these boys in a rhythm, Brian. That's your job. Ken Dorsey has that. But feel, situations, and flow, it's hard to imagine a better situation, and I am dreading the concept, notion, and idea of either of them leaving, right?
Well, yes, but no. Like, I agree with 80% of what you just said there, because I still feel like this is the first game of the season that I really think Ken Dorsey allowed guys to get into a rhythm. This is the first game that they made Moss inactive, or one of the running backs inactive, and they let one of them be the guy.
Yeah.
Like, for the entire season, they've had all 3 guys active, and they kind of tried to do this rotation. Now, this is the first time they made somebody inactive, and they said, you know what, Devin? Okay, you get your shot. And the guy almost rushed for 100 yards. Like, the game that we've been saying we've been missing, the run game. We need a run game. We need to control. Josh can't be the leading rusher and throw for 400 yards. That's what I've been screaming, and a bunch of other people too.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happened Sunday? That's what we need. And I feel, and again, we left 14 points at least on the field in the first half. The game really shouldn't have been 24-20. Like,
no.
And at least that's just how I see it. So, I think in red zone we've been hurting. Actually, Daryl just popped it in the same time I'm saying it. Red zone plays at this time for this season, we haven't been as effective in the red zone, where in years past the red zone has been a strength of ours.
We could talk about that for a moment, just because the red zone has been a strength because of the threat of Josh Allen, and there is no threat. There was 2 times in particular I looked at McKenna with the Bills on the 5 or closer, and I was like, Josh Allen, like, this is the moment. We all know it's coming. They're going to direct snap ball to Josh Allen. He's going to take a step back, and he's going to go work his way into the end zone. And that is missing from this offense for one reason or another. That is, and there's been conversation about the sneak missing from the offense as well, which they did it finally this past weekend. It seems like they are doing things or calling plays to protect Josh Allen a little more than what they were in years past. But to me, the biggest thing missing from this red zone offense is the threat of Josh Allen taking it into the end zone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. We haven't seen him. I think it's been 3 weeks now since we've seen him have a rushing touchdown. But at the same time, are they protecting him? Because then you're still calling that quarterback sweep at the end of the game where he's hurdling over. Now, I get it. The hurdle wasn't the call, but you put him in the position to still do these things and hurdle everybody and do all of this stuff. I was very impressed Sunday, even though the game was closer than what we wanted it to be or what we expected. I was very impressed with how they allowed Devin Singletary to take some of the pressure off of Josh. It made the defense, and I don't know if everybody paid attention to this, but I did because I was excited about it. It made the defense even play Josh differently. Like, there was already a risk of Josh Allen being Josh. Like, the last play of the game, or when he threw the touchdown to Dawson, the rush actually slowed down. Like Ford was on the outside and he's like, wait, is he going to run? Or like, so he didn't even keep trying to rush for the sack. He actually stood back thinking Josh was about to take off. So, I mean, the threat of Josh is a big deal. And I'll send that to you after we get off of this. The threat of Josh is a big deal as it is. But then if you look at the rest of the game, because they had to worry about Devin Singletary, that play action pass and that RTO, it was like they actually had to decide, wait, are we really gonna go after Devin, or are we gonna go after Josh? Normally when you do it, it's like just tackle Josh. If the running back gets 3 yards, cool. This game they couldn't do that.
Right.
And I think, for me, I was so impressed with that. And Leslie Frazier, I mean, I agree. I'm scared that he's going to get a head coaching job this year, but I've been saying it for the last 2 seasons. He's deserved a head coaching job.
Indeed. Well, let's finish up the last couple minutes of the show with this. The Buffalo Bills are 5-1 and are in sole position of first place in the AFC. Cannot be challenged this week, even through the bye, which we talked about at the top of the show. Who's left in their schedule that looks to be a problem? And I want to go through this. I prepared this little pretty slide for the show. Obviously, we have the win against the Rams, the win against the Titans, the loss against the Dolphins, win to the Ravens, win against the Steelers, win at KC. From here on out, knowing what we know now, which is basically the Vikings are a much better team than we kind of thought going into the season. But knowing what we know now, and the Jets, obviously the way that the Jets look right now,
Cheeks.
Let's go game cheeks. That's funny. Let's go game by game. I mean, the next one coming in for us is Green Bay. Are you ready to believe that Green Bay's falling off a cliff, or are you in a situation where it's like, is I don't know how do I want to say it? Is there just a struggle there? Are they on the struggle bus and it's got to be worked out?
I've been writing it all season. So on top of the pods now this year, I've been doing some writing for Buffalo Rumblings. And one of the things that I've been talking about with Green Bay is the fact that Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams completely regrets getting divorced. Like, you ever see a couple that breaks up and then like they just can't get over each other, and all they're doing is like, that's Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. They miss each other. There's nothing that's going to happen this season that I see that's going to correct it. Now, Aaron Rodgers is still making Aaron Rodgers plays at times, but the difference is when he makes that play, it's literally for 9 yards instead of Devontae Adams catching it and turning a 9-yard gain into a 25-yard reception. That's the difference. And so A, no, and then B, it's coming down to coaching. Once you see talent dwindle, like the talent isn't there anymore, then you start to really see how good of a coach people are. Like, oh, is this coach really the man? No, he's not. He benefited from having Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, and he benefited from having a solid defense. Now the defense isn't looking as great as they did, and Aaron has nobody to throw to. I still think Cole Beasley should come out of retirement and go holler at him. I think that would be the perfect scenario for honest to God. I've been saying it all year, but I'm not scared of them. I think the Vikings could be a good game. Is the Browns game, is that the last one before Watson comes back, or is Watson back?
They will not have Watson back that game, if I'm not mistaken. So Green Bay Jets. So you think the Green Bay's the W? The Jets to you are cheeks buns. Cheeks. So you don't. Yeah, that's a win. The Vikings game makes me nervous. Like, that Vikings game, they've got weapons, they've got talent. If they can put it together. Now, obviously, the Saints gave them a run for their money in Europe, but. Man, and I know that you have no love for Kirk Cousins. You have zero love. That's been a fun topic of conversation of ours for a couple of years.
He's very, very underwhelming, and I'll be nice this time. He's very underwhelming as a quarterback. And the thing is, he's solid and he has good receivers. When you look at Justin Jefferson, I mean, like, come on, man. So the threat of Justin Jefferson, but we'll have Trey White. We'll have Trey White at that point. We'll have Kyer and Trey White together. I'm not worried about him. Dalvin Cook, amazing running back. But guess what? Our D-line is like that. And our linebackers are like that. So I'm not, and then their defense has been playing well. I'm not gonna say what Stefon Diggs said on the sideline this week, but they can't deal with him. You know what I mean? Like, they just can't. They can't. So I'm not worried about it. To be honest with you, I asked this question, I think yesterday, and a lot of people kind of told me what they feel like their predictions for the rest of the year is. I feel like if we have one of those bad days, like we have a game and it's just not clicking, or if I don't know. I don't even want to say nothing and speak it into the air and have something happen. So, like, I'm not even going to give a scenario, but I feel like we could possibly possibly drop the Vikings and maybe one more. So I could see us losing a total of 3 games all season. But I'll be honest with you, man.
There's nobody on the schedule
There's nobody.
I think the only ones to me, I'm not sure what we're getting from the Jets is real or not. Breece Hall looks good. I don't believe in Zach Wilson. Cousins is Tua. But Cousins has a little bit of a better arm than Tua. It might be the Vikings and only the Vikings for me. If the Bills do have that game, that it just isn't a great game. I hope it's not the Thanksgiving Day game against the Lions, rather. Like, that's the game that Lions don't have a defense. Like, that's a game that should be another 40 burger, to 10, or 40 burger to 17. I mean, we should just throttle them. And then you always look at that last game of the season. Our backups playing against the Patriots. Can the Patriots beat our backups or not? I don't know if they can. I'm with you. I think that the Browns is a W. They've got great talent, great players on that team. Chubb and Kareem Hunt, obviously Myles Garrett. The Patriots. They got
ballers.
Yeah, they got ballers. And luckily we're going to get them. Before Deshaun Watson returns.
I wanted Watson. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted him to play.
The Dolphins in Buffalo doesn't scare me at all. The Bears are a joke, right?
Wait,
the Bengals.
Real quick. Could you imagine Watson's first game being in Buffalo?
Not really. No, I haven't even thought about.
Man, the way Bills Mafia would dog that dude.
The booze.
They would dog that dude. There's no way he would be able to come out and play that game well. Like, if he came out and he had ice in his veins and played that game like he did in the playoffs against us a couple years ago,
right?
I wouldn't be able to. We would dog walk Deshaun Watson, and I was hoping, man, like the dirtbag. I was hoping that we got him. I was hoping. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So I'm in agreement with you. That, I mean, is there potentially a bump in the road, a hiccup, possibly? I said at the beginning of the season there was nobody on the schedule that made me nervous, and that was just more of a look. We got the bye week coming up. Let's take a look. Has the schedule not changed, but have the teams changed on the schedule? What's up, Robbie? Or at least our opinions of the teams changed. And I feel like had the Bills beaten the Dolphins, we'd be sitting here 6-0 right now, going, are the Bills going to go undefeated? Like, literally, I feel like that's what we'd be having. That's the conversation we would be having right now.
Well, you said that before the year started. You thought that, there was a great potential that this team could go undefeated. I didn't think we would lose to that Miami team. So, if anything, I thought I was nervous about LA a little bit. I was nervous about Tennessee just based on the history of the teams, but yeah, no, man. And obviously KC it's always one of those games where it's like, okay, we can win or we can lose. We can win. So,
right.
To be going into the bye at 5-1 when I thought it was going to be like 4-2 or possibly 3-3, like, honest to God, like, just depending on how the chips fell. I thought it might be 3-3 and then we went on a run afterwards and go dominant. But to go at this point, man, 5-1, and then you have that schedule. And somebody just told me to relax. Andrew, why am I relaxing? The Jets are cheeks. Deshaun Watson didn't want this work. The Vikings, I'm not worried. I don't know whatever you're telling me to relax about, I'll relax, I guess. But no, boys is cheeks out here. I'm ready.
I saw that and I was like, is there another king in the chat? Like,
I don't know, but I have no clue why I'm relaxing. But I mean, I'm not worried. Now, I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm trying to be like as honest as possible. I'm not worried. I'm just not worried one bit.
Right. Awesome. So you ready for me to wrap this thing up? We are
yes,
pretty much at the mark. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been tuned into the Hump Day Hotline on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network, presented by Picasso's Pizza. Make sure you're treating yourself to that good old Picasso's Pizza. But my name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. I'll give you the opportunity to take the floor.
Am I closing it out or am I just saying something?
Well, I was going to have you say who you were and then, yes, close it out from there. I'm sorry. That was a horrible handoff. I'm sorry.
It was okay. I just wasn't sure. Hey, y'all know it's your boy, Jay Spencer King. Listen, I love y'all. Thanks for kicking it with us all throughout this first half of the week or the season. The bye week, we're not going nowhere. Everybody's still going to be doing content this week and next week. We got a couple new shows coming. I don't have the announcement quite yet because I want to have everything ready for it, but we got some good stuff coming to Buffalo Rumblings, Vidcast Network, and Podcast Network as well. We got some extra stuff coming. And y'all know, y'all love each other, take care of each other, and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative. Go Bills.
Go Bills.